never seen a man cub before. It's so small.
Kira, why am I different?
You are special, little brother.
It was a conscious decision from the start. I mean, it was steered by the screenplay, but it was by definition a darker piece. It didn't hold back. It wasn't a version where, you know, if something happens to Mowgli at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it's a fantasy, and it sort of nods a wink to the audience, and then let's have a song. You know, this is a completely different approach. This is, you know, Mowgli's really going through this complex, very rich sort of journey, and if things happen to him, they affect him. He goes to, I mean, Rowan, who plays Mowgli on this, goes physically and emotionally, went through a hell of a lot. He physically does 95% of everything that you see him do. He does himself.
All I've ever wanted is to belong.
You will always be my son, Mowgli. Nothing can ever change that.
Masu is really the first person from the human world to give Mowgli that affection that he so badly needed in a way. I mean, and I was really excited actually when I heard that Frida was being cast as Masu, because, you know, I thought she was just perfect for the role. And, you know, she really demonstrated that kind of adoptive mother stance on Mowgli, and kind of gave her love to a kid who really needed it in a way.
I had a fantastic time working with Rohan. You know, by the time I had come to set, he was already put through the ringer for about 2 months, 3 months.
I think it was a while. I think like a
few months,
well,
actually, because you had
four
done
or
4
5
months.
Yeah,
he had already worked on the soundstage in England, and you know, his hair was long and he was bruised and battered. And so by the time I came on set to play my part in the film, the boy was already, you know, he had seen a lot. You know, he had gone through a lot, and Rohan is just one of those actors who makes your life so easy. He looks at you with these beautiful big eyes and tells you his entire story in that moment. So for me, really, it was just reacting off of trying to listen to this boy's story, trying to understand what he's trying to tell me, because he and I don't speak the same language. You know, we don't have one spoken language that connects us, except for the language that we are emoting through our eyes and our heart and our feelings. So I kind of feel like, in a way, I become his adoptive mother, his friend, his listener, his guide, and his healer. And for the brief moment that I get to be on screen in this version of Mowgli, I feel like I could do justice to the role of the adoptive mother.
You've got hands, so let's use them. Jump! Yes!
Out of my way! I shouldn't let them pick on me like that. Wolves are supposed to be with other wolves.
He's not a wolf.
I've seen the way you look at the village. Mowgli, you are one of them.
Well, it's the first time I've done, and they call this particular one performance capture. But I was working with Andy Serkis, who I've known since I was 19. We worked together, and he's probably more experienced than anybody at doing this. In truth, there's not a whole lot to it beyond getting accustomed to the rig that you have to wear around your head. Literally the spatial awareness of not hitting people with these cameras around your head, which occasionally Andy and I would do. Wasn't ever his fault, was always my fault. But other than that, you know, once you've become accustomed to that and you can ignore it, it's just acting, and they're looking for truthfulness from you. And yeah, sure, I studied panthers and their movements, but there's a limit to how much I can really achieve that. But we had boxes in a studio, and Andy and myself and Rohan just sort of went crazy for 3 days, experimented with so much. Andy would give little tips occasionally of, oh, you know, that might get missed, and you're also dealing with lots of dots all over your face. but you actually ignore all of that very quickly, because even when you're making a regular feature film, there's so much around you that you have to be able to obliterate from your awareness in order that you get any sort of truthfulness. And that's all it's doing, you know. And you look at some of the work that he's done, you know, some of the scenes in Planet of the Apes where there's apes sitting around talking, and you just get taken in by their conversation. I did anyway. You stop thinking about, wait, that's an orangutan who just said that. That's a gorilla that was just saying that. You just believe it and you get taken in. And so that's the beauty of it. You can become anything with performance capture.
I think definitely the attitude's changed towards it over the last, certainly over the last decade, because there are so many actors now using performance capture to create performances, and so I think there's, I mean, and yeah, I mean, in fact, the Academy now have stated that they are very open to a performance capture performance being, you know, nominatable, if you like. So, I mean, there are certain bodies and which don't, but I think certainly the attitude's changed massively.
The jungle is changing. Man is taking more of it, and the boy may just be our only hope of survival.
We're afraid of what man might do to us. The pack needs you, Mowgli.
And quite nice for you as well. I mean, a lot of your movies aren't child-friendly, let's say. So it must be nice for your children to be able to be part of this in a sense.
That was such a big part of it as well, yeah. I mean, I really respect Andy for what he's done with performance capture, but as an actor, he's wonderful and a really good guy. I wanted to be involved in that. I'd loved The Jungle Book as a kid. I'd loved the Disney version, loved singing those songs. There's room for so many interpretations. There's room that you don't have to, if you love that one, you don't have to dislike this one. You can love both of them, right. You know, and it shows how much one story can be interpreted in many different ways, but also very much, you're right, there's not many films that I make that kids can go watch. And my wife would often mention that to me. She ever said, you ever want our children to be able to see any of your films? And so this was one of the first times, and I took my daughter and my son to go see this, and they loved it. And it was very nice as a dad to be able to share that with them.
My, how you've grown.
I am not a man, but neither am I a wolf. Which of you will follow me?
Man cub, the whole jungle has been watching you.